Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Apocrypha Voices of the Hidden, the best occult podcast on YouTube. I'm going to say the best because I'm pretty sure we're the only one.
The best, for sure.
I fucked up on the transition. That was a transition for something else. There was no fun smoke, but you know what? Screw it. It is what it is. OBS used to be able to handle different transitions, and for some reason, it's just not doing it now. The stingers, like, I don't know. Let's see if this. Hold on a second, chat. Now it's going to bother me. Hold on a second. There's the smoke. The smoke is back. Hold on a second. We'll be right back. Got to do this right. You got to do it right. Got to do it right. Hold on a second. There we go. There we go. There we go. We got to do it right. We got to do it right. So there it is. So it is good to see everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who we got in the chat here? We got Tree Sap. It's always good to see some Tree Sap, right? Curse.
Always.
Yep. Curse. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Good to see you. We got a Slim Lewis.
Slim Lewis. Is that opposite of me? I'm Big Lewis.
Big Lewis.
I'm Unslim Lewis.
I mean, I think
Thick Lewis.
I think if you went with like
I'll
Big
take
Louis,
it.
I think if you went with like Big Louie, it kind of sounds like a mob boss, mafia kind of name, you know? Who's
Yo,
that?
call me Big Louie, y'all.
It's Big Louie.
Don't screw with me.
We call him Big Louie. So, today is going to be interesting because Mystic is drinking liquid crack, and
Yeah.
and I'm drinking Guinness Original, which apparently, according to the back of this fucking thing, is 12.8% alcohol by volume, which I did not realize when I just fucked off the first one in like one sip. And this one's halfway gone, and I'm already feeling it. I'm a lightweight because I don't drink the way that I used to. So yeah, good times. We're going to be talking about demons, demonolatry, and all that fun stuff mixed with mental health. I think that that's kind of an important thing. I've been on this afternoon, for some reason, I've been torturing myself by listening to the song by Korn called Daddy.
Oh, Daddy. Oh, wait,
yeah.
different song.
Yeah, different song. On repeat and watching people's reactions to it and shit like that. And it really kind of put me in kind of like a place to talk about mental health, which I think is important to regularly bring that up. It's not the first time we've talked about it, and it won't be the last time. But every time we get something a little bit different because it's just us, you know? So also, Mystic, I think you'll be happy to know that how your video is cropped on the stream, the people that are walking past you are barely visible.
Good. Not that they matter. They matter, but not that they probably care.
You don't matter.
They're all great people.
Fuck you.
You're not in my circle. You do not exist. That is a very Levian way to look at it, right?
Exactly. 100%. All right, so Mystic, what big decks do you have for us?
So I brought a couple of big decks out to the Kaba Bar in downtown Fort Myers. So I'm going to go with one I haven't used in a very long time.
Dragons.
Yes, this is the Wizard Tarot.
Okay, definitely not a reversible back.
It is not a reversible back. This is a deck, though, that I've used a lot. It's one of those that's very similar to my Steampunk, and so far as same writer, similar artist, I think. But just a really, really good option.
Comic Toby, thank you very much for the super chat of $10. He says, I always super chat my favorite YouTubers. I won a lot of money gambling this week, and I know $10 is a lot of money in Mexico. Thank you for the Inferno support. I always walked alone until now.
Toby, I am not in Mexico, so not that I'm not appreciative. And anything more than a penny to me is thankful.
Exactly. Anything anyone super chats is always greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. And it allows myself or Mystic to interrupt the other to read your message.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I did want to talk about, since the topic tonight is mental health and kind of how that works into things. What's really cool is I think tarot is a tool that you can actually use for mental health, and I want to talk about that when we get to it. But until we get there, let's see what the energy is from the tarot. Now, remember, the last couple weeks we did tarot, it's been really crazy. We even talked about like things are going to be kind of nuts, and it really has been, at least in my opinion. All right, so we've got Six of Swords as our first card.
That is an interesting card. Is that somebody? What the hell is that?
So if you can't see it, it's basically a motorcycle, and the motorcycle's got a sidecar.
Oh, that's what I thought it was. But it looks like she's
Yeah.
like protecting her kid or something.
Yeah, they are. She is. There's a kid in there. They're getting away.
They're getting away in the living
Now,
room.
yeah. Now, last week we talked about the six. I think it was Six of Pentacles, or it might have been Six of Swords. Even both of those cards are cards that come up when there needs to be a vacation, a getaway, a move away, a get out. And we talked about last week how
Get the
we
fuck
need to
out of
do that. We
Dodge.
need to, yeah, we need a getaway. Whether it's even just mentally, we need a getaway. So that engine is still there. Two of Pentacles in the Wizard Tarot.
Looks very serene.
Very serene and very green.
Yes.
Not only is green the color that really pulls in the human eye the best. It's our best color. That's why night vision's in green, by the way, if anybody didn't know that. Most night vision, that is. But the Two of Pentacles is really a reminder to invest back in yourself, right? So the way I like to think of it, and I've mentioned this before, when we talk about ones, that is existence. Twos are recognizing that existence. Three is when you have a pair. I know that's a weird way to look at it, but that's kind of how I look at the tarot. So that second, that Two of Pentacles is really about recognizing yourself and, like she's doing, sitting with yourself and assessing yourself and spending time on yourself, recognizing who you are and what you need to do. Well, guess how you can do that? You can do that by getting away, right? You get away, you go to a place, you just get out for your own safety before it gets too bad.
Wait, is that a
And then
street?
you can.
I'm
It
sorry.
is a street, yes.
Okay, I thought it was a living room, man. I thought it was like somebody sitting on a couch and there's like a random bike.
It is a street. Yep, it's a street. It's a little steampunky, but it is definitely a street.
Okay.
Six of Swords has some other meanings too. Like it can also give us energy of somebody trying to take something from us behind our back.
Okay.
So, but regardless, you got to get away, got to get out of whatever the situation is. And if you can't physically, which is what it's really talking about in the Six of Swords, you can do it mentally with the Two of Pentacles, which is your meditation, your recognition of self, your engagement back with yourself. And we're getting a lot of swords today. This is a very used deck, by the way. Nine of Swords. This is a really gruesome card.
Yeah, when you first flipped it over, that is not what I saw, but that's fine.
So our Nine of Swords, this is a representation of something that's not going to happen. It's not going to be fulfilled. It's not going to make it to the end, because when we get to the Ten of Swords, it's a failure. Now, of course, that failure is an ultimately positive thing, because whatever it was wasn't meant for us. But that's not how it feels when you're in the Nine of Swords. When you're in the Nine of Swords, that's when the world is crashing down on you. People think the tower is all about the world crashing down, but no, the tower is about making sure that you change your perspective and your foundation so that you can build again. The Ten of Swords is the actual rock bottom that people talk about. The Nine of Swords is that point where you're heading towards rock bottom, but you don't even know it yet, but you know it, but you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this energy is very similar to last week's, but the difference is this week we're heading towards something that's not going to feel good. We're not going to be happy about it. It's not going to be a good feeling. We're going to feel like we're failing on something, and we might actually fail in it. But the only thing that we're going to be able to do about it is move ourselves to another safe place, whether it's internally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking the swords is probably in the nine with the Six and the Nine of Swords, but it's probably this is more of an internal escape, not a physical escape. And then my Two of Pentacles is that, you've got to disconnect this week. Turn your phone off in the weekend, to pick a day during the week, whatever. Go somewhere where there's nobody and disconnect and sit with yourself, learn yourself a little bit, talk to yourself a little bit, find out who you are and what you think about things. I literally ask myself the questions when I'm meditating sometimes. who are you right now and what is important to you right now and what do I need to do right now? What's the next thing that's bothering me that I need to focus on? And that is, of course, after the initial meditation. But that's the energy we're getting this week. I see a couple of comments about some shadow work. Absolutely. Digital detox, 10,000%. I'm due for a digital detox. Also a really good topic to include for tonight, but
Yeah, definitely.
yes.
I mean, I find it really hard to go through a digital detox because being in Mexico, and this is obviously I am completely aware that this is my fault because of where I've chosen to be located. I have my reasons. You know, they're about 3/4 my height and 9 years old. Okay, is my primary reason for being where I am.
They're good reasons.
But my only social circle exists online. I literally do not have friends IRL. Now, despite the fact I've never met Mystic, I do consider Mystic an IRL friend. Based off of the shit that we've talked about and everything that we've kind of gone through and, you know, stuff like that, regardless of meeting him in person or not, you know, I do consider him an IRL friend. But as of having somebody in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Yes. You know, so I do not have people that I can call on and say, hey, let's go get a drink. Hey, let's, you know, I just don't. And, you know, that's probably my fault, but.
So here's the one thing I want to just say about digital detox. In my opinion, now people can think of it differently. A digital detox doesn't necessarily mean becoming unreachable. It does mean not utilizing social media. No Facebook, no Instagram. But if you want to call somebody, I think you can call somebody.
Okay.
I think texting, to me, as a digital detox, texting is an okay thing because I'm directly talking to somebody. The thing I don't like about social media is I'm talking to space and then waiting for space to respond.
Yep.
And that's the stuff that I need to get away from. It might be different for everybody, but that's my pull. If I need to digital detox, but I want to call my friends, I'm calling them. And if they're only available by internet, then I'm going to call them by internet. That doesn't change the thing, but maybe try to utilize like video chats, right? Yep. And things like that where you're physically present with somebody because there's a connection to that. But
I completely
social media is a no.
Mystic.
Twitter, whatever the fuck. Ugh.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mystic. The only problem is messaging Mystic is like messaging the ether.
You have to text me. You can't. It's the only one I check. Did you order?
So, I'm just kidding. Anytime, I'm going to be completely honest here without details, anytime that I have really needed Mystic has been there. Without fucking fail. Like, I can sit here and I can think of the 37 years that I have been alive, and no one has been there for me the way Mystic has. So I'm talking shit. I'm talking shit, but I'm being 100% honest. Like I couldn't ask for a better friend. So
no, that's
I'm just being honest. But with the mental health,
I'm not ignoring you either. I'm actually ordering food.
No, it's all good, dude. It's all good, man. Dude, I
figured
you're doing something. I mean, I got food on the way. I ordered a burger and some mozzarella sticks, which I apparently forgot the name of. Because in Spanish, they're dedos de queso. They're called cheese fingers in Spanish. So.
I don't know. That makes me think of children's fingers. Like, I'm not eating cheese fingers. Brad, are you listening, or do you want me to put the headphones on? Do you want headphones?
Listening.
An Italian wrap. So I always find it interesting when. Whoa, what was that? Was that Brad?
That was me.
Oh, okay. That sounded very sensual.
Italian wrap.
Oh. Like, I always found it interesting when people put like a country's name in front of food, right? Like for like Italian sausage, right? Like that makes me think
because
of
one time salami was from a state or a country,
right? You know, it's like Italian sausage does not make me think of meat on pizza.
It does not, but it makes me very happy.
So I'm just thinking like Italian wrap. I was like, so you got an Italian guy and you wrapped him in a blanket or something? I mean, like what? I mean,
I had Italian sausage once.
there you
Sorry,
go.
what?
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so this is, if you guys
You
can
hear, you just
tell,
don't listen.
because we're going to be talking about mental health, it's going to be more kind of like, there's going to be a lot more moments we're going to try to be fun loving in it.
And there'll probably be some not so fun ones.
Yeah, so the
Did-
reason I wanted to bring this up, and here's where we're going to go to kind of like the darker side of things, right? So for those that have seen the lives that I've done regarding this, I probably should make a video of it so people can refer to it faster than trying to go through all the lives that we do. So, but for those that aren't aware, you know, I was taken advantage of as a child. And something that I've realized recently, I would say probably in the last year, is it's something that still heavily affects me. I would love to sit here and tell you that my childhood traumas are just that, are, you know, my childhood traumas of, you know, my past, and, you know, I've let them go and things like that. But, you know, especially after tonight, you know, kind of like before the show, watching, you know, the videos of people reacting to Korn's song Daddy, I couldn't stop myself from crying. Like, I was sitting here and I felt so, and I'm going to be honest, I felt very ashamed. I was completely alone. Nobody was watching me. Nobody could see me, but I felt completely and utterly ashamed for crying.
That is so weird
You can say it is
to
stupid.
me. It's not stupid at all. Because when I cry, like I cried today playing The Last of Us, and I get into these just days, and we'll tell Brad, I'm in that mood today, and he's like, I won't talk, I don't do anything, I'll just sit and watch videos and cry all the time. But it makes me feel amazing.
Right. I mean, afterwards,
You know what I mean?
feel better. You feel, yeah, 100%.
But I mean, just even while I'm doing it, what's going through my head is, I'm actually a human being. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seriously, like that's how I feel about it, and I really wish that other people felt that way, and I know they don't, but that's part of the thing that makes it really difficult.
So I think I think I'm not going to do it tonight on the show. One, because I'm drinking, and that just never ends well. But,
Hey,
but I think that one of the things my psyche needs is to go into detail with somebody of what happened to me, like what was said, what happened, how it happened, how I felt as it was happening, what happened, you know, when I tried to reach out for assistance, when I tried to ask for help, you know, I need those are aspects. I've generally gone over the fact that yes, I'm a victim, I'm a survivor, but there are graven details, like grotesque details, that I've never gone into with anyone. And I think that that's something that I need to start kind of unpacking. And how does this tie into the occult? The reason it's mental health and working with demons is because for a very long time, obviously it would be nice to talk to another human being about these things, but in my demonic work, working with the infernal, I have been able to reach a very good level of closure. Doing ritual, focusing on this, right? So for me, I would go into ritual and I would focus on the things that are eating at me. And it's funny because the reason I feel ashamed is because I felt fine. I was perfectly fine. And then in my YouTube recommended, popped up a reaction for Korn's Daddy, and I was like, all right, well, you know, I really like that song, and I know it's an emotional song for those that can resonate with it. And I was just curious of what the person's reaction was, and fuck, man, I couldn't get halfway through the video. Like, as soon as Jonathan Davis opened up and did like his operatic singing in the beginning of the song, I was bawling my eyes out like a fucking bitch. Like I was.
Dude, that just feels amazing to me.
It does. Like after the, and I think that's the reason I feel ashamed, is because after I was done crying, I felt better. You know, I was like, oh, like I needed that. But I was like, I grew up in a situation where my stepfather was very boys don't cry kind of thing. And that's still in there. Like, even though I'm completely against it, I'm completely against that philosophy, that programming is still there. So when I cry, I feel fucking horrible as a person. Like, I feel better physically, but I feel horrible emotionally as a person because I'm crying. Because I'm not supposed to cry. I'm not supposed to be sad. I need to be the one that has the answers. I need to be the one that pushes forward. I need to be the shoulder that everyone else cries on. You know, and it's hard for me to, for myself, accept the fact, dude, you're fucking human. You need to get this shit out. It's hard. It's hard for me.
It's hard for a lot of people, I think. You know, number one being, I didn't grow up quite the same way, but crying was not a good thing. I was definitely challenged a lot for feeling weak, so I tried to overcome that by being over strong, right? So it really changed my personality. I was a very angry and aggressive kid up till my early teens. I'm like, I would fight, I would hit, I did not treat people well. But the older I got and started learning and finding, thankfully, some really good friends and people that have kind of stuck with me that have really changed that. But I never felt bad as an adult when I cry. Like, and it's always music related too.
Yep,
sometimes
same.
videos, or some videos I'll do it, but it's usually music. Like, there's an old song, and it's weird because most of it's dance music for me, right? Because if you listen to the lyrics of a lot of dance music, it is so much deeper than anybody gives them credit for.
I agree. Yes.
And there's this phrase, and it's it doesn't probably mean much to a lot of people, but it's these shallow waters never met what I needed, so I'm letting go a deeper dive. And
It's
that
TLC?
phrase, like right there. No, actually, it is Alan Walker
Okay.
and the girl that sings "Faded."
Okay, wait, no.
I forgot her name.
Fucking TLC was the waterfall one. Go chasing
Waterfall,
waterfalls.
yeah. But these things hit at different points of your life, right? Different time frames of where things are happening. There's so many different things that there are some songs that I still can't get through when I listen to them. Like, I literally, if I'm singing along to it, I will literally just choke up and I just can't progress. And it's because they speak so strongly to the experiences that we all have that people don't really think. And I'm a big T-shirt fan. I have at least 100 of T-shirts like this, right? All different kinds of shit. And some of them say "eat ass," and some of them say "be kind," and some of them say "hail Satan." But there's one that is, "I hope you heal from the things you have never been able to talk about."
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you heal from the things that you never talk about?
Shit, dude.
And people have to do it, you know? And I know it's easy to start, and I know people will talk about shadow work. I can't read the chat, guys, for the most part, but I know shadow work was mentioned before, but this is what we talk about when we start talking about this, is shadow work. It's not just shadow work. It's therapy. Therapy is a good thing. Therapy is a very good thing. It is a very important thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be talking, but you do have to eventually learn to allow yourself to have the full range of human emotions.
Yep. Yeah, I think
like all of them.
Yeah, I think the thing that fucked with me, and that I'm starting to, like, I blocked it out. Like, when I did the live video and I talked about the things that happened to me as a kid, I mentioned a name, and I mean, I'll mention his name again. His name's Thomas Susko. Was the person that basically started the process of my abuse. I mean, it goes significantly more extensive than that, but I actually found him on Facebook, and I reached out and I asked, And I don't know, stupid me, right? I mean, stupid me expecting somebody to actually admit that they molested a child, right? But I actually asked,
Mm.
why did you do this to me? Like, why? Like, what was it that made you think that it was okay to do this to me? You know, like, why? Why did you do this to me? And of course, I was met with gaslighting and
Of course,
denial and
it's your fault. That
aggression.
never happened. You wanted it. They're all the same things we've been hearing for our life, right?
You know, and I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I don't know why inside of me I was expecting, and yes, I will say expectation, and I know expectations can be unhealthy, but I had an expectation that it was going to be like something different. It was going to be, hey, you know what? I got my own kids now. You know, I'm so sorry. You know, I was young and stupid. He tried to blame it on his brother, which was a fucking infant at the time that it happened.
Well, that's a problem.
You know, like he blamed it on his brother. He's like, no, my brother did that. Like, dude, your brother was in a fucking car seat when this shit happened, man. Like,
Well, I think there's a couple of things that happen that, right? Like some people maybe they're also feeling, hopefully, and I'm naive, hopefully they feel so guilty they blocked it out. Hopefully that's what it was. It's so much guilt that they would never do that, that they just blocked it out. But nobody, good or bad, well, I guess I really can't say those people would be good at all, but regardless, whether they have some truth in them is what I should say, I guess. Whether they have any truth in them or not, they're not going to admit to those things, especially not when it can be recorded or written,
yep. No, and the thing
because they're
is
not dumb.
yeah, and the thing is what's so painful about it for me as like a victim and as a survivor is trauma is the gift that keeps on giving. Right?
Yes.
It is. It's the gift that keeps on giving in different ways. It's the same thing with my dad. Like, yes, I settled a lot of the muddy waters that I had with my dad before he died. But the fact that he died, I never got the opportunity to get close enough to him to say, Dad, why did you do this to me? I never got to ask him that question. I am grateful that we had the time that we had, like, as like being cordial to each other. But there's inside of me this thing that's like, fuck, man, like I'm never gonna get an answer. Like, and that's all I want. That's all I want is a fucking answer. Is like, why? Like, you know,
Yeah, I don't get it.
you know, why did you do this? Like, why was this okay?
It's
And
not. It's human condition, right?
yeah, you know, and I don't mean to get, I don't want to get too emotional or too far into it, but this is a big peak for me, right? Understanding where this is coming from and why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, you know, and understanding and accepting, dude, you're not going to get an answer. It's not going to go away. You're not going to, there's no magical words that are going to make it go away, but there are ways that you can, I don't like using the term deal with it. Like, 'cause that sounds too like my stepdad, like fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like saying deal with it, but
Yeah, pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
right. But like, I mean, what else can I say? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I don't have that same experience with a parent, but what I can say is, like, last year with my dad passing away, he ultimately harmed himself over time. And some of the things that I've learned about him after he passed have really been a very positive effect on my traumas that I've experienced. Um, Namely, the lack of the love and support of somebody who's supposed to care for you.
mm-hmm.
Um, and what I've come to learn is he left us little hints about who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned to accept that he was exactly who he was, and that was it. And there were so many things that he failed at, but he didn't fail me because he didn't know how to not fail me as a kid, right? So there's intent or not, he wasn't capable of doing the things that I needed as I needed them, because
Right.
he's not me. We're different people. That's how it goes. He was capable of that environment, which I wish would have been different, but it didn't happen. Now, after he passed, and we found some hidden notes that he had left in envelopes, because he was starting to get a little confused, little dementia type stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned enough about him that I'm not comfortable sharing on here.
Right.
And I don't feel sorry for him, but I understand a lot differently now. And I'm glad that those things were written down, even if it was 15 years ago, to kind of have that insight and remind myself that, yeah, he was a completely failed person too, just like
Mm-hmm.
me. It's just, I'm not going to put a kid through that because I know I would fail a kid. I don't have it in me,
Mm-hmm. I
you
was
know?
just gonna actually say that's like the hardest part with being a father, as I'm a father, is I'm not perfect as a father, nowhere near it. And I know that there are moments that I catch myself, that I feel my stepfather coming through me when like he does something wrong or something like that, and I'm trying to
Yep.
discipline him, and I stop myself in mid sentence. I go like this, I close my eyes, I turn around and I walk away. And dude, I will bawl my fucking eyes out because I'm like, I'm my fucking father, man. Like, I don't
Well, of
want
course
to
you
be
are.
this. Like,
This is, it's not a good example, but I will call it the engine break-in period, right? Rook and I have been really highly into motorcycles lately. I've got a couple new ones, and one of the most important things you do in the beginning is you ride it at different levels to break it in. And because once you break it in, those seals are adjusted to the shape of that cylinder. When
mm-hmm,
you are a kid, your mind and your thoughts and your processes are etched in a way, whether good or bad, but they're etched into a system that then helps determine how well it's going to last. Now, sometimes they fall apart and break, and you have children with severe mental illness or trauma. And then sometimes they can overcome that with other stuff. I got so lucky. The reason that I am probably not dead on the side of the street from a drug overdose or self harm at this point in my life is because there was somebody around me that said, when I was 14 years old, that I didn't know, that literally just said, "You don't look right. Do you need me to sit with you for a minute?" And I didn't respond, and they sat with me for about 5 minutes. That it was one of my sister's friends. I think it was my sister's ex-boyfriend's best friend or something at the time when I lived in Virginia. That one moment shaped enough of my personality or of my belief in people that I could maybe find a way. Now I had other issues after that, but I do go back to that a lot and think about how lucky I was to have at least a few. And then after that, I had more people that supported me very well.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then, but from a mental health standpoint, I was set up to fail really hard. you know,
Oh yeah,
Parents divorced at 3. My mom's schizophrenic. My dad had major depressive disorder. Tried to harm himself in front of me at 16. Me and my grandmother, his mom, and just all these things that could have happened. And I wonder, why didn't they, or did they? And I just somehow cope with it enough to where it doesn't show. And then through coping with it, therapy. When I was in high school, I had to go with therapy 3 days a week. Best thing I ever did. Glad my parents made me do it. Um, I have not done therapy as an adult, and I need to, because even though I feel pretty adjusted, there's some things that are still wrong.
mm-hmm.
I react very strangely to some certain things, and I'm trying to figure that out. Scarlett helped me out a lot with that, with recommending the polyvagal theory book.
Yep.
I'm not saying you should therapize yourself, but I did the exercises in that book, all of them. I even sent them to her to grade, to look at and give me
Unfortunately,
feedback.
I love Scarlett. Unfortunately, because I'm not stateside currently, she cannot legally give me therapy. Um,
Yeah.
so
But
it's
either way,
sad.
the, the other part though is if you have that book, and I'll share it with you, it makes you do some stuff. There's some exercises in there, and you walk through them. And I learned some things about myself that I thought I had dealt with, and I did. But then you learn, and this is, I think, where the next point would be, if we can go into it more, is we are all going to have traumas. We are all going to deal with traumas. We are all going to do
Yes.
shadow work, but that does not mean that the trauma is over. It
Uh-huh.
will come back. It will repeat itself, but each time you have a little bit more in your toolbox to continue managing it. Because I thought it was done. Like
Yep.
the whole thing with my dad, thinking about when I came out to my dad and then how things felt now, like it just washed all over me. Feelings of abandonment from my mom and some of the things that all
Yep.
washed over me again. And one of the reasons why I like to kick people out and keep them at arm's length. That's why I don't have a lot of friends, because I'm afraid of them. And
Well,
I actually am literally and physically afraid of straight men. That is a thing for me that I did not know I had. We've we've been talking long enough at this point,
yeah.
and I do have a couple of
I'm
straight
just
friends
giving you.
now,
I'm
but
giving you shit, man. I'm giving you
well,
shit.
like two. I know. I like two in real life that I actually even am remotely considering talking to a little bit. But I'm terrified of their reaction and how they feel about stuff, and I'm watching myself to make sure I don't say something that's too gay.
And look,
Like,
I'll be
why am
100%
I doing that
honest.
at 42?
Yeah.
Like, I've been through this. I don't need to do that.
One of the things with me, and this is a hard thing to say. I've never said that. I think I've said this to you once in private. But this is a fucking tough thing to say live. But I don't think, like, I don't think I'm 100% straight. Like, I don't know what that phrase means. But I think what I am is, because of my abuse, afraid to accept certain parts of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of the abuse that I went through. Now, this is a new thing that I'm kind of starting to kind of excavate, I guess would be the term. So don't ask me a lot of questions that I don't fucking know. But there are certain aspects of myself that I'm like,
Well, all I can say to that is I think a lot of people would be less concerned about saying whether they are or aren't, and recognizing, like, I Kinsey scale 0 to 10, 0 being straight, 10 being gay. I'm a 10. There is nothing of no offense, ladies. There's nothing about that part that does anything for me. It's terrifying. Just immediate, like inversion, immediate.
uh-huh.
Now, is that some part of a trauma? Because my reaction is pretty violent. Um, Maybe, but in the end, does any of that really matter? Because there's something in there that is preventing us, and I do it too, that's preventing us from being exactly who we are. I will never be with a female. It will never happen. But I certainly find many women attractive and beautiful. Would that have been different if I didn't have some of the experiences I've had? Probably. I think all of us would.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and it's harder to talk about the things when you're not sure what is happening in your head, right? Like, when you yourself are discovering aspects of yourself, it's really hard to talk about it because you don't know what's going on. Because it could be something completely different than what you think it might be. And it's something that you kind of have to work through. When Mystic mentioned kind of like the trauma doesn't end, I want to touch base on that. That is a big thing that I'm noticing and that I'm having a lot of problems with. One of the things that I'm realizing, for example, when I was younger, and one of the things that have desperately affected me in my adult life, unfortunately, in very negative ways, is I have always been looking for someone to protect me because I was never protected. And all I want to do is feel protected. And I'm the one that's supposed to be doing the protecting. And so it creates this conflict. Like, I don't know if I can express it with words, but it creates this mental conflict inside of me because I want to feel protected, but I also know that I'm the one that needs to do the protecting, and it really fucks with me. Like, a lot.
You can do both.
Huh?
You can do both. Cover me. That's where when you're in a game and you're playing a first person shooter, what do you ask your friends to do? The people you trust. Hey, I need to get over there so that we can get to the next level. Cover me.
Mm-hmm.
That is the theory behind protect me so that I can protect you. But we don't like to ask for that cover me part because either we don't trust somebody at all,
Mm-hmm.
or we don't trust ourselves. That's probably the bigger one for me. Is I'm afraid I'm going to fail and then they're going to get hurt. So if I don't trust them, I don't ask you to cover me, then I can't fail you.
I definitely
And
think
that's where
yeah.
we get stuck.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's both with me because Like, I don't trust myself in the sense that because I didn't have that protection as a child, that I'm incapable of protecting somebody else, at least in the way that I should be. And that I don't trust other people to protect me because everyone that I was supposed to trust to protect me didn't. So how am I supposed to trust somebody that's not blood, that's not family, to protect me when those that were my family, that were my blood, that were, you know, my relation didn't protect me? How am I supposed to trust you to protect me if those people were incapable of doing it? And then afraid of repeating that pattern of not being there. You know, it's fucking deep. It's fucking deep, and it's a pain in the ass. But I think it needs to be talked about, because I feel like the part that we're talking about right now, like, is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about it online. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people do talk about, like, they talk a lot about mental health and a lot about looking for help.
Well,
but like,
when we see the mental health discussions online, you're not seeing a discussion on mental health. You're seeing a feel good. Hey, let's talk great about it. You are an amazing person. I don't need you to tell me I'm amazing. I need you to help me learn how to tell myself I'm amazing. That's where my problem is.
right.
Like, I just did that's so. Yeah, I don't. I've been a member of a lot of mental health streams and things like that, and it just comes down to, I don't ever want to be in a, like you talk about, an echo chamber a lot. I don't want to be in a room where everybody just says, well, get over it, or feel better, or just think positively. It's like, no, if I did, I wouldn't be having this problem.
Exactly.
Like, that's not
Like, if it was
that's
that
the whole
fucking
point.
easy, like, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. If it was so easy as
Yes,
like thinking positively, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. I would just
positive toxicity.
think
Yes.
about fucking rainbows and bunny rabbits, and there you go. But it doesn't work that
hmm
way. You know, that's
Yeah,
not where the mind is.
there is, oh, one of those songs that just popped into my head is, oh shoot, it's Amy Lee. Um, oh my God, I need to figure out this song. Let's look it up real quick. Broken? Is it Broken? No, it's not Broken. Um, oh my God, I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Okay.
But it's one of those songs that I just, it breaks you down, and it's coming from that place of, there's one phrase where it's like, I'm not getting it exactly right, but I lead myself to the trough of water, but my inner child doesn't drink. It can't because it's broken, and there's all this stuff to it that we just talk about. And if you just go in and say, oh well, we all need to be kind to each other, which, yeah, sure, I have a kind shirt, great. But if that's all we do is be kind, even with the gay thing we talked about, like, the kill them with kindness, the only way we're going to beat hate is love. No, it's
Yeah.
not. No,
Can I suggest one
that's not
thing?
how it works.
Let's change. There's one thing that I saw earlier today that I do agree with.
Good night.
And instead of saying broken, because broken implies that something needs fixing, and a human being doesn't require fixing. Sometimes all they need is compassion. So I prefer.
I like that.
I prefer the term hurt than broken, because you don't need to be fixed. You can't be fixed. What happened happened. There's nothing that's going to fix that, right?
Altered. I am altered.
I can
We
go
need to
with
come
that.
up with a tagline for that. I like broken. I like hurt. But the thing with hurt is, it loses sting over time,
True.
and trauma does not.
This is true.
To me,
I mean,
everything of
broken.
that whole,
Yeah,
time
broken.
heals all things.
Yeah,
No,
broken
it does
definitely
not.
has that, like, that it hits every time you say it. But I don't like feeling broken. You know, I don't like feeling like I'm broken, because I don't think I'm broken. Broken. I mean, I have a job. I pay my bills. I take care of my son. A broken person, something that needs fixing, is in pieces. I'm not in pieces, but I'm already super glued back together, but those cracks are still there. You can still see where the cracks were, where everything broke. So I don't
Breathe no more. Oh,
breathe
okay,
no
sorry.
more.
Breathe no more is the name of the song. I
You know,
didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize. That was rude.
no, it's all
But
good. It's all good. You said you're gonna
found
look
it.
it up, and breathe no more. Everybody is a song by Amy Lee.
Breathe no more.
Is it
I
Evanescence or
love
just
it.
Amy Lee?
I don't know. I think it might be just Amy Lee, but you have to listen to it with headphones or in a quiet room. And the third word in, I'm broken. Like, well, okay, I'm not broken. I'm I am heavy crying. Like I've tried
Yeah,
to sing. I know the entire song by heart. I just get to third. I cannot do it.
yeah.
Um, just because of the way. Well, plus her voice to me is, and y'all can. Yeah, I'm hyper.
that Java, that Kava is kicking your
Uh-huh.
ass.
It
Um,
does. Yes.
but in a good way, right? In a good way. Um,
Thank you, paranormal.
yeah. So I mean, I understand that broken is like a word that is very commonly used when we're talking about mental health. But I maybe other people don't feel this way, but this is how I feel. That I don't want to be labeled as broken because broken means that I need to be fixed. I don't need to be fixed. I need compassion. I need understanding. I need somebody to fucking listen. Like, I don't need you to fix shit for me. Like, I don't need you to give
Yeah.
me a pill and tell me, oh, this is going to. No, I don't need. I just.
Yeah. 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 I was just thinking about that. Little treats that put in there, the kintsugi. That is
Okay.
one thing that comes up a lot. I actually have a kintsugi kit. It's not. I in my brain, it's not real kintsugi. That's a whole thing. Like it's a whole entire thing. But I do have the thing where you can kind of fix things with gold, right? It's a kit that I got, but it is something that celebrates the remaking of something or the fixing of something that
Uh
was
huh.
previously broken, like dishes
Okay.
and pottery.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. I'm aware
we've
of
talked
that.
about it
Yes.
before,
Yeah.
and it's so cool. So, but it's just something that has always stuck with me in my head. That yeah, broken, I get that, but uh sorry, I'm very hyper.
It's all good. I'm digging your energy. Your energy's good, man. Um, so yeah, I mean that's just my opinion on it. Like, so there was the video that I watched before we came live was a therapist reacting to Daddy, and she said that she doesn't like using the term broken because that implies that somebody needs fixing. And as human beings, we evolve, and the things that we go through evolve us and do change us, but they don't require us to need to be fixed. Like,
Yeah, I like that.
like fixing means that, like, you're the problem, you are broken, right? That you need to put yourself back together, and that's not what it is. You are not the problem, you are not sick, you are not broken, you are hurt, you are in pain, you are suffering trauma, you are suffering the entrails of your trauma, but you are not the problem. What happened to you is the problem.
Um,
So by saying you are broken implies it's something that you need to fix, and you don't need to fix it. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to learn how to heal. And so that was like the thing that kind of like, because I used to say that all, like, up until today, like I would say I'm broken, but no, I'm not. I'm not broken. I'm not something that needs to be
you
fixed.
know, I like that. I think that's a really neat way to put at it. I'm just thinking back. One of the things that I've been saying is, well, two things. One is I generally use the battery percentage because I'm a nerd. Like I literally will tell people like I'm only at 65 today. I just don't have 100% to give, and that 65%. Some people will take it as, oh, you're bad, but I'm like, that 65%. That's my back's battery today. So that's where we are. There's nothing else I need to do. But just respect that, and people know that. The other thing is, I don't remember where I saw it. I think it was a Snoopy meme,
Okay.
but yeah, but it was do you no, it was Simon Sinek, which is like my favorite person in the whole world.
Mm.
If you don't know who that is, you need to YouTube him. He's one of like he's just from a leadership from work leadership perspective, he's amazing. And he kept saying is like, do you have 8 minutes? 8 minutes is all it takes to sit with somebody. If somebody calls me and you tell your friends, hey, if you call me and say, look, I need 8 minutes, then I know all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you tell me what you want, when you need it, when you want it, and I'm going to sit on the phone right here with you. Or I'm going to be present with you and not try to analyze during that time, not try to ask questions, not try to do anything, but just be present.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, was something that was really neat about human beings. We can say we're loners and maybe loner practitioners, solitary witches, whatever. We are social creatures no matter what anybody
Yep.
says. There's social needs that are in there. And if that means being like, for me, it's even being present in a room. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be doing the same thing as Rook. We can be doing completely different things, but if we're in the same room. That's quality time for me.
Yep.
And I will tell that to anybody. If anybody ever needs 8 minutes from me, you put it in there, and if I see it, you'll get it.
Yeah, Gary V says something very similar. Like, oh, it's one of the things that always attracted me. Like when you talk about a business standpoint, I think of Gary V. Because Gary V
Oh, I
always
love
talk.
Gary V. Simon Simonek is Gary V without the curse words,
Okay, what I love
and he's
about
been doing it longer. But
Gary V is the curse words. The fact that
yeah, Gary V is freaking phenomenal.
but I mean, he says the same thing. Like when he's talking about his employees and stuff like this, he says, if you see, like, gratitude is a huge thing. Like all he preaches is gratitude and being grateful. And he says, like, understanding and being there for your employees is you have to understand the difference of what your employees need. He's like, if you're talking about a 20 something, maybe their focus is money. If you're talking about a 30, 40 something, maybe their focus is family. And if you see that an employee's
Mm-hmm.
going through some shit, take 5 minutes. I mean, he uses 5 minutes, like not 8, but it's this the premise is the same. He says, ask
Yeah,
them, are you okay? Like, do you have any idea how
yeah.
much that's going to make somebody feel when somebody that far above them, the CEO, stops and says, hey, are you okay? Like,
Yeah, we do. We do a practice in nursing when a building is failing, when our leadership and the building's falling apart, people are quitting, nobody's getting along. We say, "Do you do rounds?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do rounds. We meet our patients, we talk to them, we do assessments." Like, no, 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 no. Do you do staff rounds? Do you go around and literally just say, "How are you? What are your kids doing?" Because if you can't do that, then you don't know your team. Your team can't perform.
mm-hmm,
You've got to have that input to them. But Gary Vee does a really cool short video. It's not even a short video. It's just I think he was caught on video doing this one time, and it's one of my favorite ones where this young girl goes up to him and she says, I one day I'm going to be strong enough to do that, and he just like literally grabs and says, "You are strong enough now. Why do you not get that?" Like, and I'm like, it's so good. I'm like, because it's off
I
the
saw
cuff, and
that.
he's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, just you're already there. Stop doing all this other bullshit and thinking you're not good enough."
Mm-hmm. Yep. So stop thinking that, like, you're only limiting yourself. Like, you are strong
But
enough. You are powerful enough. Yeah.
question is how to do that, right? So instead of just saying you have to do better and treat yourself well, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
What I would love to hear anybody in the chat, whether they like, what's your go-to thing to get you out of that thing, that feeling, or do you not have something and we need to come up with some coping skills for you? That would be fun.
That would be something that I would be willing to do. For me, I'll start with myself. Like, obviously, I didn't do it today because we had the show. And I'm sure, like, Mystic would have understood. Like, if I sent him a message saying, hey, I need to do a ritual before we go to the show, I'm going to be late, he probably would have been completely understanding. Like,
Yeah,
but normally what
we
I would,
always do a little meditation.
that's good. I need to start doing that before the show. But generally, like, when I start to get in a funk like I am right now, because I'm definitely in a funk. Like, if you notice, I'm not really talking about the occult side of it. I really want to talk about the occult side of it, but my brain's just not there. Like, my brain is just not there.
Love it.
I'm just being honest. Like, I mean, it says, mental health and working with demons. And guys, I'm sorry. Like, I really want to bring that content to you. I know that a lot of you would find that beneficial, but my brain's just not fucking there. And honestly, like, when I'm in a funk like this, like, I would normally jump into a ritual and try to connect on that, because I feel like I need to connect to something, someone, right? That's where I am emotionally, is I need that connection.
Well, let's talk about that then for a minute. There's probably a lot of people in this group in our occult world that do not look at the infernal the same way that you might or that I might. I use tarot when I need to reorganize my brain or refunk something. Meditation, mindfulness, and tarot. Those are the three big practices I use. Any kind of card. And there's the Goetia tarot, and then there's the demon tarot, the demon terror.
Yeah.
And that immediately puts me in a good mood. But shuffle them up, pull a card, and then ask yourself, what do I see myself in this card? And then describe it to yourself. It has a blue edge. It's got a texture to it. I see horns. I see an outline. I see these things. You're describing it to get your brain to let go of other things and fall into place. And then you ask yourself, what do I see of myself in here, and what do I want to see that's different? And it just gives you a way to use tarot as kind of a self-therapy session. If you don't use demonic tarot, you can use regular tarot. You don't even have to know what the cards mean. Pull the Six of Swords and say there's 6 swords here. The swords look sharp. They're double-edged. They have a hilt. And when you describe that thing, it brings your mind into current state. That's what we call mindfulness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are then focusing on things that are physical, present, and here, and it sheds all the rest of the funk that's in your head for the moment. And you have to do it really intently, though. And then you switch to those questions and try to see where it can take you. And I love the demonic tarot, really the goetic tarot, just because when you look at the pictures and you kind of describe them, they give you, you really can kind of feel what that is and what that goes into. And yes, ritual is important. We should do it, but if we can't, it's ritual and devotee work. Sit there with the card, with that demon, that card, whatever on it, and working
Mm-hmm.
through it as yourself. Because who are we trying to be?
I like that a
Our
lot.
own, who we are. We're our God. We're our
I
the
mean,
sin. We
I've
are the
never
center
tried
of our
that.
life.
I've never tried that. Like, I've never thought about it that way, because I've always thought, like, when I'm in like this state, tarot requires me to focus in a level that I'm just not capable of focusing in.
You know what else you can do?
Hmm.
If you look at tarot and you get into it and you immediately start thinking about what tarot card means, turn it upside down or sideways so that you can't see the actual image.
Mm-hmm.
You can just describe the lines and stuff. Or you can do that with pictures too. But you flip them into a different perspective so that your brain doesn't preconceive the image.
Mm-hmm.
Like a flower upside down, that's not normal. Chairs upside down, not normal. Then you can start describing them. That's actually a trick when they teach you how to draw in art school, to flip it upside down so that you stop thinking of it as a chair and you see it as lines.
Right. I like that a
That
lot.
just
I like that. I will definitely give that a shot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm one of the things I do want to say when we're, because I touched on gratitude. I do want you guys in the chat to know how unwaveringly grateful I am to every single one of you that are here almost every single Friday. It is, you guys leave me speechless every time that you come in here. Like, I don't really give a shit how many people are in here. Like, if it's 1, if it's 100, you know, would I like that our message gets to 100 people per show? Sure. But the fact that all of you that are here every Friday, that you take that time out of your day to sit here and listen to us and listen to me, like,
Dude, this is therapy and ritual all in of itself.
yes.
I mean, define ritual practice, right? It is something that you do consistently that provides some outlet or some guidance to something. And this is, as much as I don't like to, as you can see, I'm making adjustments. I don't want to be stuck at home every Friday night, but I also do not want to miss this conversation. So I'm going to make it happen wherever I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an important part of the how my life is going at this moment.
Well, I mean, curse, you know, I'm not doing any magic to pull you guys in. It's organic growth, you know, and I wouldn't do any magic to pull people in. I want you guys to be here because you want to be here. And if you're here because you want to be here, for whatever the reason is that you want to be here, thank you.
It is a
Like,
virtual group meeting. I love that.
it is. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
there are always going to be these episodes where I get like this, because one thing I need to admit to myself, and I think the best way to admit it to myself is live, is I'm dealing with shit. I'm always dealing with shit. You know, I have my son. I have, you know, normal responsibilities that anyone has, you know, work, things like that, responsibilities to my friends. You know, I mean, you know, Mystic and I might not, you know, be able to touch base much, like, outside of the show and whatnot, but I feel responsible to Mystic. Like, I feel responsible to be there. You know, and there's nothing that, like, he could sit there and say until he's blue in the face, you're not responsible for me. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever, but I still feel like I am. You know, and it's just, that's the love that I have for him. You know, I'm not responsible for your actions. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean. I was trying to think of a different word that means something similar.
It was just the like,
Yeah, no, like it's just to me responsibility. Obviously, I'm not taking his responsibility to me. It's responsibility or to my actions. It's a human need to continue social contract, and that's a really clinical way to say it, but that's what it is. We have social contract. That's very specific in some ways, and then everybody in this chat has a social contract with us as well. If anybody in the chat room that I'm familiar with got my phone number and called me one day, and I picked it up and they said, "Hey, I need you right now," I would stop what I was doing and we would be talking.
mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel, and that's part of that social contract of we're exchanging energy right now. Me and you are putting out a lot of conversation. We are changing how we're thinking about things. We're taking feedback in, and everybody in the chat room is sharing and talking. There's all this energy sharing right now. Yeah, sorry, not that kind of energy, but there's a lot of energy sharing. That this is what magic really is. There is an input, an output, overview. Energy is never created or destroyed, but right now we are shifting it, changing it, moving it, adjusting it, and growing from it.
I mean, this isn't this is this podcast specific to the occult? Yes. Is it always
Do we
going
get
to
off
be
topic all the time?
yeah? Is it always going to be 100% the occult? No, because we're human beings. And whether we like to admit it or not, the things that we're talking about today, regardless of the limited amount that we're connecting it to the occult, is a part of the occult because the occult's a part of our life. It's what we do every day. You know, it's how we fulfill ourselves. And there are going to be days like for me for today where I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel good. You know, and that's partly my doing. I'm aware of that for putting myself through what I put myself through, you know, in watching those videos that I watched. You know, I recognize that. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. And the one thing that I want to have for this community is not just that it's a community, but it's going to sound really cliche and really stupid, but I fully mean this with all of my heart. I want it to be a family. When you're here, I want you to feel like you're with family. Not that you're watching a podcast and that you're just getting some information, but, you know, that's a part of it. But I want you to feel like you're in a place where if you're not having a good day, you can say you're not having a good day and we can talk about it. Live. I don't give a shit. You know, better than Olive Garden.
Lord of mercy, I love it.
I mean, we don't have the never-ending breadsticks though. Like, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's a big deal too.
The
that's
breadsticks,
huge.
yeah.
That's the whole reason I go. Oh, and the minestrone and the zuppa toscana.
Aren't they doing like the never-ending pasta bowls now again? I think they're doing that again now.
They go on and off with that.
Right. So
never-ending diabetes.
Right. So, but I mean that was kind of like a big thing, like that I always wanted to have that vibe when you're here. That we are watching the chat, we are listening to you, we are paying attention to you, right? You're not just talking amongst yourselves. You're talking to us.
When you're here, your family.
You know, like you're talking to us. We're listening to you. You know, whatever it is that you have to say, because I mean, you guys are listening to me right now. You know, and I mean that's what I want. And like what Treesap said earlier is that, like, you know, we're one of the only occult communities that doesn't make her go out of her mind. And based off of conversations that we have had, you know, I would like to think that has something to do with the fact that we don't discriminate on path. We're not sitting here telling you that you're wrong in what you're doing, that you need to do it the way we do it. We're here saying that the whole point of the occult is to do it in the way that makes you feel fulfilled, not the way that makes me feel fulfilled, right? Which is one of the reasons I don't share my ritual work with you guys. And it sucks because that's the one thing when I did the poll of what you guys wanted to see in videos was ritual how-tos. You guys wanted ritual how-tos. That was like the biggest one that everybody chose. And I'm like, well, fuck. The one thing that I actually don't want to do is the one thing that everyone wants me to do.
We can do a ritual how-to without being too prescriptive of detail.
You would have to help out with that, because you've seen me when I talk about my practice. The way I am, I can only talk about what I know and what works for me, and that becomes very quickly. It sounds gatekeepy, very quickly.
I think we can. One good thing that would be fun is on stream we get some kind of like maybe a whiteboard or a table, and we have three things, and we write down what we do at each step, and then we have people in the chat tell us what they do. So, for example, what is the first thing you do when you decide you want to do a ritual? Then, how do you set up? Then, what do you do? And then you share yours. I'll share mine. We'll have people in the chat. Everybody gets some input. Save it and put it somewhere where people can access it.
I like that idea. That is.
I do this for work all day. This is like my main job, part of my job.
So, I think that would be great. We definitely need to set that up. You can stage your ritual practice and not share all of it. So, okay, so here's the okay. I mean, I don't mean to be difficult. Like, and I know this sounds like me being difficult.
Can't change who you are. Oh, sorry.
Right? But I won't record a ritual. There are things that happen for me in ritual that I do not want to share. And when I go into ritual, I cannot tell you, I cannot control where that ritual is going to go. Like, I can go.
Same. I have recorded some, though.
Oh, have you? See, I won't.
Yeah, only when I've done it for somebody else. Like, I didn't share it with you, but I recorded the ritual we did when your dad passed.
No, Mystic is not eating Olive Garden. He's eating Kava Garden.
Moe's.
Sorry,
I didn't eat breakfast or lunch. I am so hungry.
That is actually that's a good name. Somebody's a Kava Garden. Like,
I'm sure there is one around here. Florida's got 100 of them.
So I mean, so yeah, so the reason like I don't record rituals is because I don't know where they're going to go. And yes, could I edit out certain things? I could, but
it's weird. I'll be honest. When you record a ritual, it is weird. It doesn't feel right.
You know, and so, and it has nothing to do with the entity that I'm working with. I wasn't requested by an entity not to record it or anything like that. It's just how I feel. Like I've attempted to record rituals before when I first started the YouTube channel and focused on the occult. They all got scrapped.
What about a fake one?
That could
like
be a thing.
Like a scripted fake ritual where just like you can tell it's fake because we're going to be very fake about it.
Okay.
But go through the motions of what we might do.
That could.
Because that's going to change too, depending on the ritual.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, that's also another thing. Like, I mean, I always tell people, like, I mean, I get endless. I still to this day, I get endless amounts of communication from people asking me how to work with Baphomet, and people don't like my response. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. You know what you want to connect.
That's how all of them are for me.
You know what you want to connect with. Just fucking connect to it. Like, you know, there's no special. Understand that there is and there never will be a special formula for you to get results from a ritual. I can make suggestions based off of what I do, but that's me. Like, what I do is not what's going to work for you, and then I feel like I'm putting myself. If I give people suggestions on what they can do to connect with Baphomet or any other entity, I feel like I'm putting myself in a particularly strange position where I'm indirectly telling you, as this is what I do, this is what you should do, and this will work for you. And therefore, if it doesn't work for you, I'm at fault. Right?
I think that is a really good point, because I think I can see that being a problem. For me, the only thing that I think is an absolute requirement for ritual, and even this people will disagree on, is I have to meditate first. I have to. I can't not go in it. When I've done a ritual without the meditation, you absolutely can tell a difference so quickly. Even with tarot, if I don't do some type of meditation before, my tarot is completely off. You can tell. I've done it on stream before without doing a meditation. You can go back and literally say, "Yep, he didn't meditate for that one."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I just don't. I mean, and I appreciate that, tree sap. That I do like to think that I've given enough basic information to let people know how it is that I do things, and if they want to follow suit, they can do so. Um, but it's such a personal experience. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there is. I'm going to go this far. There is no wrong way to fucking do it. You do what you're capable of doing. We've had people in the chat, that have families that are very restrictive on, their ability to, be into the occult. And, that being known, they're not going to be able to have a fucking pentagram nailed to their fucking wall the way that I do, and have everything set up all the time the way that I do. How can I guide these people into do ritual? Just do what you're capable of doing, what feels right for you in the moment. I know we all want the statues. We all want the pentagrams on the wall. We all want the altar. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think maybe the ask is a little bit wrong. Maybe the ask isn't to teach me how to do a ritual, but maybe the ask, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Maybe the ask is teach me some things that I can do to make my ritual experience more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I've done rituals when I'm away from home, and all I do is I have 4 sigils, and they're sigils for the north, south, east, and west that I made, so that it immediately internally when I'm doing meditation connects me to my house
Mm-hmm.
and my altars. And then I have my sacred grove, which is a big part of the druid craft. So I have my sacred grove. I know exactly how it looks, no matter where I am, anywhere. I can be in my sacred grove and process things that way. I think that might be the question people want answered, if I'm not wrong, is not how do you do every ritual or how do I do a ritual, but what are some things that we can do to make it better? Because
Yep.
the pinnacle and the pictures and all the things that you were talking about, the idols, some people hate them, some people love them. Like I can't do pictures. I think pictures of something, it immediately throws me off. I can't do it because it feels
Mm-hmm.
like it's almost like a soulless entity to me.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on the animistic side, so when I see a piece of paper, then I'm not connecting to what's in it. I'm connecting to the tree.
Yep.
So that's a
That makes
personal thing,
sense.
but you can share that stuff.
I mean, I've done like, and my ritual work changes as well because like a lot of the time I'll do ritual work right here in the office in front of my altar. But there are times when the night is clear and the moon is out and it's full and it's bright. I'll go to my roof. I have nothing up there. I don't bring anything with me. Right? And I'll just work directly with the moon. Nothing. There's nothing else. Just the moon. Me and the moon.
Motorcycle. That's
That's
what the motorcycle has been for me. I've been on the bike and thinking, I'm in a fucking ritual right now. That is exactly what's coming out of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and for those that don't have the ability to, set up an altar and stuff like that, do a moon ritual. I mean, you don't even have to like kneel. Don't make it obvious. Just sit there on a fucking lawn chair and bask in the light of the moon and let your mind run away with it. There's no
Really
wrong
easy moon ritual. Get some water, put it in a clear glass, take it outside, hold the water up, look at the moon through the water, and just see what does the moon in its current phase represent.
Mm-hmm.
Talk yourself through it. You're doing a moon ritual.
Yeah.
And drink the water. You're taking in the energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I will go as far as saying there's no wrong way to perform a ritual. There is no wrong way to do it. Bath rituals, like anywhere in your fucking house, your kitchen.
I love
cooking.
shower rituals. This is a really neat thing that you can do. Like we make our own face wash and scrubs and stuff, and we have different ones for different purposes. If I'm going to do a ritual where I want to do something and make it bigger and grow it and freshen it, I'm going to use a citrus base. If I'm doing a ritual and a shower ritual where I want things to calm down and slow down and be a little bit heavier and feel stronger, then I might do something with musk or sandalwood. And then picturing the water just coming on me from the lake all the way up through the system and then over me and washing out all the shit.
Dude, I do that every time I take a shower. Every time I take a shower, like
easy ritual. Effective.
So I'm weird with it, right? So if I really want to dig into shower ritual, I'll bathe with warm or hot water, and then I will turn the hot water all the way off, and I will just let the cold water just hit me. And yes, for the first few minutes, I'm fucking hyperventilating, but then when I gain that respiratory control and my
You're
body
awake.
my body calms down from the shock, like I just let it flow and just like I literally envision, that water that's flowing over my body. It is taking away everything that is negative, every bad. Like when I'm done with this show, I'm going to go take a cold shower, right? And I know that has another connotation to it that a lot of people like to jump to. It has nothing to do with that.
That is funny. In The Sims, that's what it means.
Yeah. But that is something that I do almost every time I take a shower. And I can do it.
Paranormal says hi.
I have gotten to the point where I can be in just cold water for 5-10 minutes. Like, without an issue.
Went to the beach one time, having a really, really, really bad time. My life was all over the place. I think I was 19. I just so unhappy. I went to the beach and I literally just walked in and I don't know what happened, but in a ritualistic manner, I came back out, different person, completely changed my life at that point.
Water's
A
powerful
new
shit.
perspective.
Yeah, water is
Yeah,
powerful shit. Especially like, so one of the things that I always focus on is here in Mexico. So here, it's not the cleanest thing in the world, but all the water that's used in the faucets and the showers here are in something that's called a tinaco, which is a giant plastic drum on your roof that most of the time doesn't have a top on it, right?
Like a hotel cistern kind of thing.
Yep. And so that water feeds up into it from the city, and then it sits there until you use it. And they're usually about 100 gallons or something like that on your roof. And so mine specifically doesn't have a top on it. And because it doesn't have a top on it, I know that the moonlight hits that water directly in the evening. So one of the things that I focus on is that fact that I'm not just bathing in Nocturne, I'm human. But if you
That's a good song.
if you need a nationality, yes, I'm American. But I'm technically French Irish American with a touch of German. So,
German.
Yep. And Native American from my grandmother's side. But when that water hits me, I focus on the fact that that water has been absorbing the energy of the moon since the moon's rise that evening. And sometimes these baths, I'll start them at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning if I need them. And I will focus on the fact that I'm bathing in moon water.
I love that. You know, the other thing that I think is really cool with water, and I do this sometimes when I get need to be regrounded and kind of just reset. It almost feels like when you're watching a video game and the screen tears happening, things aren't just lining up or the sound's off.
Yeah.
And that is same thing similar to moon water, but I just think about whether it's physical or water or even the table that I'm sitting at. There's wood on this table. Where did that wood come from? It came from a tree. I wonder where that tree was. And I try to imagine what that tree looked like and where it was. And then I kind of imagine before it grew, it was molecules. And those molecules come from fertilizer in the dirt and rainwater and the sunlight and from the sun, right? That's where this energy came from.
Yep.
And you have this thing that was made, we're all made out of molecules. It's just, it humbles you in a human way. And from a ritual perspective, that has been a huge part of my getting back to like the basics kind of a practice.
I do that a lot, and actually that's something I think that's very relevant for what you're eating right now. Is so down here in Mexico, a lot of things are made out of corn, right? Maíz.
Maíz.
And so like those are corn chips. So sitting there while you're eating it and thinking like, okay, where was this corn before it got to my plate? Right? Like, what field was this in? Like, how did the wind blow through it?
And did a person harvest it or a machine? And if so, who rode the machine? And what was their family like? Did they have kids? When were they born?
Exactly.
There's forever ago you can go.
And it brings such a level of appreciation and gratitude to what it is that you have around you. And and that's something that I'm really trying to focus on a lot more. Is I didn't have a lot of gratitude growing up, for myself or towards other people, because the people that you would think that I would normally have gratitude towards were didn't really do a lot to be grateful for. Um, but learning to be grateful for what I have now and the people, and understanding that the people that I have around me are not them, that's big for my mental health. That's a huge thing for my mental health, because I've been going through my life judging every single person that I've met off of the standard that was set for me as a kid, and learning to break away from that standard.
Not fair to you or them.
Exactly. Is really helping my interpersonal relationships with friends and things like that, to be able to actually have friendships and, not, be ungrateful for the fact that people are taking time out of their day to fucking talk to me. Because one of the things that I always tell people about ritual work, the greatest sacrifice you can make working with a deity is your time. Every person that takes time out of their day to speak to you is doing the same thing for you that you do for your deity. People do not have to speak to you. People do not have to take the time out of their day, their precious time, to spend with you on any level.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that so many of you take an hour and a half, an hour, 2 hours every Friday to be here, just like Mystic said, that's a ritual. That's a huge thing.
Huge.
It's a huge fucking thing. Because that's time you're not going to get that time back to make dinner. You're not going to get that time back to get a snack, or watch a TV program. This is where you're putting that time. And so I am so grateful for that sacrifice that you're making to be here. Just know that I don't say that lightly. It's a huge thing. And both of us are grateful for it.
Oh, yeah. This is a big part of my... how long have we been doing this? Over 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
And there's been some ups and downs in it, but it is an energy it's a charge for me. It's a charge up. There are days when I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do it, because I just want to go home and relax or do something. Every time I do it, I'm like, I'm very glad that I did, because I get a boost from it.
Yeah. Same here.
Have a good night.
I feel so much better than I did when I first came in here. Right. And, I greatly appreciate it on a level that words cannot begin to describe. I have no illusions or God complexes of thinking that I'm better than anyone else, because I don't. Which is, again, one of the reasons why I wanted this to have that sensation of being like you're here with family. I'm afraid that, like, eventually at some point when we continue doing this, at some point, it is going to start growing, and there's going to be more people in here. It's been a continual thing that's been happening. And, there is a part of me that's afraid that it's going to lose that kind of, sensation of being with family once it starts getting bigger. But I do want guys to know that this is family. I'm not going to use Olive Garden's tagline, but this is family.
When you're here, you're family.
He's going to use it. Also,
hey, look,
guys,
I still remember their birthday song from working there.
Jesus.
Buena festa, what a joyous day. Life's good fortune here to save the day. Now come on and sit back and relax the Italian way. We're so glad you came to celebrate with us today.
Don't ever sing that on my birthday.
It's been 15 years.
Don't ever sing that on my birthday. I'll hang up on you.
Noted. I will.
Just so I'll hang up on you. So also another thing, I don't know if we've mentioned this. The last Friday of every month, Black Witch Daira is going to be a fixture on the program. So that means next week is the last Friday of the month. So every last Friday, Black Witch Daira is going to be on with us. So it's not going to be an interview. It's going to be 3 people talking their shit. you know, the way we do.
And I'll be trying to field chat more because that's how I do.
Yeah. So,
I'm excited.
yeah. Also, another big announcement that I wanted to make today, because we're finally making the moves to kind of get it going. There is a new website up. It's witchskills.com. And it is me, Black Witch Dyra, and Mystic. I'd like to throw Rook in the mix, but Rook hasn't actually confirmed anything.
He'll be helping me. Sure.
Okay. So we are creating a full-fledged online Hogwarts, essentially. There are 4 official programs with a 5th on the way specific to tarot. So the 4 programs is General Occult Studies, Herbal Magic Studies, Demonolatry Studies, and Satanism Studies. Okay. These are not designed to push you in any particular direction. They are a deeper dive into the generality of each aspect of it, and they can of course be crossed over. You can mix them together. You don't have to focus on just one or the other or anything like that. So these are going to be 8-month courses. Well, except for the tarot card one. Tarot card divination is going to be, I'm assuming we'll have more details on that later. But the other 4 courses are going to be 8-month courses. So with semesters. So each semester is 4 semesters, 2 months per semester, that are going to be covering generalities and specifics of the history. So you'd get into the history of it, and then into modern practical practice of each one. So very excited to be bringing this to you guys. It's a big undertaking. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing.
And you're doing it the right way, which I like, not ungilded.
Yeah. So that's a big thing that we're excited to. Currently on the website, all you can do is sign up for the newsletter. So go ahead and do that if you want to. You can go to witchskills.com and drop your email to make sure that you get the announcement once it does go live. It's going to be a couple of months before it goes live, but I want to get you guys prepped for it. It is coming. It's a big thing. Because we have taken the time to sit down and look at other courses that have existed that were similar to this, what they were missing, what perhaps maybe they did incorrectly, which for the most of them, the answer is unanimous across the board, is that they try to push you into one specific path.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what this is.
You have to be a 3rd degree, whatever they are, person.
Exactly. And that's not what this is. This has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with being path specific. It is to help you grow your knowledge with people that have been doing this 15, 20 years, and learn from our practice and what we understand things to be. Right? And we always keep that open. Right? There are projects, there are exams, there are quizzes, there are all of these things. Okay? But it is not designed to push you into one path or the other. It is designed to prepare you and give you tools that you can use to be or level up your practice, your craft, essentially. Okay, that's what this is for. Okay. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be pushing it a little bit more here and there, but I wanted to let that kind of drop the bomb and say, this is what we're doing. It's a big thing. So it's going to take a few months to kind of get everything set and ready on a decent level, but it is, we've got the domain name, the LLC is set up, all of these things. So it's time to kind of announce it, right? It's Witch Skills, kind of like Skillshare, very specific and very intentional on the name, right? Witch Skills, to increase your skills as being a witch. That's what it's about. and we will eventually be opening it for other people that are interested in providing course material. You know, if you have something that you want to teach, you know, there's a process. You can sign up for it and say, hey, you know, I'd like to teach this, or, you know, provide information on this. You know, and so that eventually will be an aspect of it.
I have an idea I just thought of that we need to talk about before I forget it, so remind me afterwards, though.
Yeah, we're going to end right now anyway, so.
Oh,
So
I'm just kidding.
So remember clothing, threadsforthedead.com if you guys want any type of merch, anything like that. The winners for the giveaway were Nocturne and Curse. Okay, so they will be getting their shirts soon. Okay, so everybody knows Nocturne and Curse were the winners of the giveaway.
We will be making that special cup again soon if I can get Rook to work on it.
That would be good. That would be good. So there's that. My personal writings, you can get at addiusdate.com. I haven't updated that in a minute. I got too much stuff going on to be updating that. So I will eventually update it more, but some of my own personal writings are on there. Music or the mantra that you hear is Behemoth X. I want to throw that out there. I'm saying all this because I didn't type it in the description. So I at least want to, you know, say it. That's the only thing that we play now, because we have been taking a massive hit on the super chats, because I have been playing copyrighted music, which means about 80% of all of the money that is going into the super chat is going to the people that we're playing the music from. So that was a bit of a pain in the ass. I didn't realize that it applied to super chats. So anyway, thank you all very much for being here. Thank you for listening and being attentive. I feel much better. And you all have a wonderful rest of the weekend. I will see you Sunday for Satan and Coffee. And I think you're also doing your show as well this Sunday, yeah?
We are planning on it. We may or may not be able to actually do it. There's some things we have to do, but I think we're good to go this week.
All right, awesome.
So we're supposed to, yeah.
So that's Two Pondering Pagans here on YouTube. Check him out before my show. My show starts about 15 minutes after his ends. All right?
Yeah, your show starts?
Yeah, it charts. It charts. It's a good description of it. So
happens when you get older.
It does. It does, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you all very much. Love your faces. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
Deuces.